Hey, it's Kaufman is Alive. Look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at all the old comic books that I picked up today at Half Price Books. They all ranged from $1.50 to $2, and I had a 10% off coupon. So I'm pretty lucky to have a Half Price Books in my city. They always bag and board their comics, which is really nice. They always come in a nice package here. Obviously, they're used, but they're always, as the name suggests, half price. So, um, a lot of times you'll see a lot of $4 books, and they'll price them at $2 and so on. So, usually a really good deal. And they'll have even some really key comic books too at a discount you can find. So, if you got a half price books or a store like that in your neighborhood, I highly recommend checking them out for comic books. We'll flip these open. I haven't really flipped through them much yet. So these were all comics I've never owned before. Got Savage Dragon number 48 here. I also picked up this Eric Larson Superman cover from Superman number 33, who does the artwork on Savage Dragon. And Eric Larson's the artist and writer here as well. So cool cover here of Savage Dragon and this character Powerhouse. He's kind of a ridiculous character with like a chicken head. This has got to be like a Jack Kirby homage cover or something, I have to guess. But like I was saying, Eric Larson's done every issue of Savage Dragon. He's the artist and writer. I was collecting Dragon around this time, but this was just an issue I never picked up. So, pretty cool to find it. I always usually seem to find a few Savage Dragon books when I'm at Half Price Books, which is nice. They did have some of the early issues that I already own, so I didn't pick those up, just got this one today. But like I said, I've got issues 49, 50, which is like the end of a really big story arc in Dragon, so pretty cool to get this issue that kind of leads up to it. Got a pin up in here by Ruben Rude of Powerhouse. That's pretty crazy, like this a circus pin up here. Really cool. Got an ad for Night Watchman here. This is a Gary Carlson and Chris Ecker comic book from 1998. Very clearly like a Batman ripoff. They're not even hiding it. We've got this Ben Torres cover here. This looks like something from like a Frank Miller Batman comic. They've got Deductive Comics here. I never picked up Night Watchman. I don't even think I've ever seen that comic. But get a nice little fight between Dragon and Powerhouse here. You always get action in Savage Dragon comic books. So this was right when Brainiac got control of Overlord's armor here, the Vicious Circle. That was it's a pretty ridiculous storyline when Brainiac puts on the armor and it doesn't even fit. It's one of my favorite things to happen in the early Dragon comics. So like I was saying, I got this Superman issue, number 33, from the New 52. So that Dragon comic book came out in 1998. And this one I think came out, let's see where it says. This is 2014 this came out. So I only picked it up because of the Eric Larson cover. Batman and Superman on here. This is actually a 75th anniversary variant cover for this issue. So it's on some really nice paper too. But I decided to pick it up because also it's got Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. on art here. We got Klaus Janson as the inker, so a really awesome team from cover into the interiors here. I don't think Batman shows up in this book though. This is just like a variant cover, but it's still pretty awesome. Eric Larson piece there. And like I said, we got John Romita Jr. on the interiors. We've got Ulysses here, who I think is supposed to be like Superman's brother or something. I'm not too big up on all of my DC lore. I have some pretty big blind spots there too, especially the New 52. Was definitely not reading any of that. This might even be the only New 52 comic I own, come to think of it. So, it's got some really nice artwork though. That's for sure. I kind of like this New 52 Superman costume in action here. Then we got the Wildcats Trilogy #1. This is by Jay Lee. He does the artwork on here. It's got this cool kind of foil variant cover. This isn't not a variant, but just a foil cover. This was the only cover. But this is a book you can find in most dollar bins. It's just one I've never picked up. Was definitely reading Wildcats during this time. I've got a whole bunch of the early issues of Wildcats. Jay Lee's got some really wicked artwork in here. I love his Grifter, the way he draws Grifter's mask. These villains look completely wild, totally insane looking artwork here. Definitely love this era of Jay Lee. He draws some really great female figures as well. Awesome faces here on all the characters. This page is just completely wild. Some really awesome, just every page is just like a work of art unto itself, not like typical kind of comic book stuff on every page. You get some really nice, interesting, like abstract drawings here. Just love that really intense face on Zealot there. And we got some pinups here. It looks like we got the Gen 13 characters. Got a Brett Booth Stormwatch cover there. Mark Texeira is another guy who draws a lot like Jay Lee does. We got Brandon Choi writing here as well. Of course, he writes like all the early Image stuff, so. Actually, this was before Gen 13, they were calling it Gen X, and then they got into some legal trouble with Marvel for using the X in their title, and then Marvel quickly came out with Generation X to put a stop to that, so it got switched to Gen 13. So kind of a cool little time capsule there of that ad where it's still Gen X. I got Violator #2. This was the original Violator series. It was written by Alan Moore. We got Bart Sears on art here. Mark Pennington is on inks. There's a new Violator miniseries out right now that is, it just came out with issue #2 as well, so this was pretty cool to find. I've got issue 3 of this series. I've never been able to get issue 1 yet, so really crazy artwork in this comic book for sure. And it's just a really funny team of Alan Moore and Bart Sears doing Violator. He's just such a ridiculous character. But I remember the 3rd issue being very entertaining, so looking forward to reading through this. Looks pretty ridiculous, and nice little Spawn splash page there to end it. We get some pinups, as these early Image comics always have, which I love. That was a Greg Capullo piece there. We got some fan art here. I love this old Savage Dragon ad. If you haven't seen the dragon lately, you're a dork. That's so cringe. All right, then I got XFactor number 36. This is from the original XFactor series. I also got issue 61. These were both parts of some X crossovers. Obviously, we got Inferno here and Extinction Agenda. I've got most of the Extinction Agendas. This might be one of the only ones I didn't have yet, and I definitely didn't have this XFactor Inferno crossover. I like how the monsters are like knocking the logo out of place there. I always love when they do that on these classic issues. Got Walt Simonson drawing here. This is a very classic era of XFactor where you got the Simonsons on art and writing. You got Madeline Pryor here, of course, kind of the main antagonist of the Inferno storyline, the original one. I always like this original XFactor team, you know, being the original X-Men team. Except they're all kind of updated. We've got Blue Beast at this point, and Archangel had his Angel becoming Archangel. That whole big storyline arc happened here in the early XFactor comic books. So I'll definitely have to get around to reviewing these big X crossovers like Extinction Agenda and Inferno, Executioner's Song, and so forth, Fatal Attractions. Got number 31 of 61 of XFactor here. This issue's called Betrayal. We got Cameron Hodge. This cover is very strange. Totally weird looking Cable here with battling Cameron Hodge. I don't even know what's supposed to be going on. I kind of like this drawing of I'm guessing this is Jean Grey holding Wolverine here with in the shadows of this window. But just the placement of everything is very strange. But this interior art looks pretty cool. I don't know who the artist is. I didn't see who it was in the credits there. I don't think it says, at least at this point. So we'll just have to go with it. It's got good art. I'm not sure who I can attribute it to. There's like what the cover looks like in this panel here. Yeah, I'm not too sure who this artist is. I can't really tell by the style. Could just be a fill-in. We got Jean Grey and Logan actually getting together here. Those are some pretty hot and heavy pages. I got the Tiger video games. I used to have the X-Men one as a kid. I used to play that all the time. Some awesome vintage ads in here for sure. I've got a bunch of this series of basketball cards as well. I saw Days of Thunder ad back there too. One of my favorite 90s movies. Some kind of cool artwork though in this one with I mean, just really going at it in some of these pages for sure. Yeah, I didn't see a credit anywhere, so kind of interested to see. I have to look up who the artist is on this issue of XFactor. Then I got Marvel Tales featuring Spider-Man, number 234. I got this because it's got the Todd McFarlane cover with Spider-Man and the X-Men in the shadows here. A really cool looking piece here. And it's Morbin time too. We got Morbius showing up in this issue. Some of these old comics though are printed weird. They're cut off at the top, as you can kind of see here. And we've got some white bar down here at the bottom. So a slight printer error there. And this is actually a reprint of Marvel Team Up featuring Spider-Man number 4, written by Jerry Conway. Gil Kane does the artwork on here. So very classic 70s team. This issue originally came out in 1972, but got reprinted here in 1990. So we got Todd McFarlane on the cover, like I said. So kind of a neat little, just a neat little comic book here where you got Todd McFarlane's cover with a Gil Kane interior comic featuring Spider-Man and the X-Men. So. And we get actually a battle between Spider-Man and the X-Men here. So Morbius gets involved as well. I think I'm going to have to maybe go back and get a full review of this issue. Love seeing a crossover between Spider-Man and the X-Men. And we get a whole page here of, which is kind of funny and rare, but it's Jim Salicrup, the editor, explaining all the backstory involved in this issue and pertaining to all the events that were going on around 1972 and Spider-Man and X-Men. It's pretty interesting and very in-depth. I read through it earlier, and they've got the cover here of the original Marvel Team Up, number 4. And we get a Todd McFarlane piece of X-Men and Spider-Man here teaming up, because in the next issue we get Spider-Man meeting the new X-Men team here, the giant-size X-Men team. And we got Todd McFarlane's interpretation of that meeting. Pretty awesome. So I was really happy to find this issue. Pretty cool. So that's about all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, if you like videos like this. I do post daily comic book reviews. See you guys on the next one.